students and audience. Welcome to yet another lecture of the web based decision support system for practitioners and researchers. And I am Dr. Deepak Philip from IIT Kanpur, and we are going into the more in-depth lectures of what we call as the database management system. We have already gone through decision support system DSS, and we have seen different components of DSS, and we have been now dealing with major aspects of database management system, because data is one of the crux of the decision support system. And today what we are going to learn is more SQL commands. Okay. Today's topic is more into some of the major SQL. I am not going to teach all SQL commands, the most important SQL commands, and I expect that you use the available resources. Especially I will show you some tutorials that are available in the web for free, which you can use to learn the SQL commands. So, without further delay, let us get into the first most importantly used SQL command, that is called putting data into the table, okay, which is the insert command. Okay. So, this is also known as inserting a record. Okay. Record is also record, row, tuple, they are all kind of similar. Okay. Think about as equivalence, there is some, most of the time they are all used into the same format. Right. So, the first thing is first one, to insert a record into the table, use the insert statement. Okay. And how do you do that? It is basically insert into, then you have table name, whatever be the table name, you provide whatever table name is, values, within bracket, data 1, data 2, data 3, etc. Okay. So, some data you can see some one data is with inverted commas and right. So, here it is, one important thing is include, if you do this format, include values for all the columns in the table, irrespective of whether you need them or not. So, let us say if the database table, if you have a table, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you should have this within parenthesis, you will have 6 data values, you will store them. The idea is that how many ever are there, whether it is needed or not needed, whether you are going to insert them, it does not matter. You need all of those values to be given. 6 values should be provided into this. That is one option. Second alternative in for you is, the other approach is insert into table name, whatever be the table name. You have field 1, field 2, etc. Values data 1, data 2, etc. So, used when specific columns data apostrophe s columns data is to be inserted. So, this is used when you need to insert in data of very specific columns, you do not want to do. So, whichever columns, if you choose only 1, 3 and 4, then you put the field 1, field 2, field 3, those 3 values and put the values correspondingly, and the DBMS will insert it into the appropriate one. Okay. Then comes the third part, right. You can say this is another approach, insert into table name, okay, whatever it is, set. Okay. You can do this. Okay. Field 1 equals data 1, comma, field 2 equals data 2, field 3 equals data 3, semicolon. Okay. So, instead of putting field and values in 2 separate things, you can just put the equated one. This is compatible for MySQL 3.22.10 or higher. So, all latest versions of MySQL or MariaDB supports this approach. Okay. So, 2 and 3 are pretty much the same, but the 3 is much more field data. So, you are matching them by field. So, it is much more elegant query compared to the previous one. Okay. So, these are the 3 aspects of 3 ways you can popularly insert command is used. There are other ways also people use insert command, but this is the important part. So, some other things, because insert is the most important command of this. Okay. So, there are few points that you need to remember. Okay. Quotes must go around text values. Okay. If you are using text values, you should use quotes. Okay. Then standard date format of MySQL is YYYYMMDD. Okay. So, it is year, month and date. That is a standard date format of this. Okay. Same way, standard time format is HH, hour, minute, second. Okay. Then quotes are required around standard date and time formats, Okay. You can see that as date and time format it requires. Okay. Also, dates may also be entered as YYYYMMDD and times as HHMMSS. Okay. You can do this. For this format, values need not be enclosed in quotes. Okay. You do not need quotes to do this. Okay. I am just using this quotes to demonstrate. Okay. That is it. Okay. Then numeric values do not need to be quoted. Okay. So, this holds true for integer, real, float, decimal, etc. Okay. So, you do not need to use quotations for or double quotes for numeric values. Okay. But the text values always require what you call as double quotes. So, just going through this again, insert, please remember these are the important rules that everybody makes mistake of. Quotes must go around the text values. Okay. Then standard date format is YYYYMMDD. We are always used to DDMMYY. That is not what the format that the MySQL database takes. It takes a different format. So, remember that standard time format is hour, minute, second, and if you are using this one with the hyphen in between or colon in between, you need quotes. If you use it without the quotes, then if you do it without the hyphen or colon in between, then that format you do not need to enclose them in quotes, and numeric values there is no need to put them in the quotes. So, these are the major things that you need to remember with that of the insert. Okay. Now, adding fields to the table. So, now we talked about inserting data into the table. Now, we are talking about adding fields into the table. Okay. This is also very famously known command as alter table. Okay. This is a key approach of called alter table. Okay. So, the two ways you can do this. Number one, okay, one field at a time, one at a time. Okay. So, here the command is alter table, okay, table name, whatever be the table name, add column, okay, we are going to say column field 5 varchar 20. Okay. So, what happens here is it takes a table, okay, let us say there is a table like this, okay, something like this, okay, and you have primary key, okay, then D1, field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4, etc., or something like that. And when you say field 4 and add it as a varchar, what happens is it takes the end of the table and adds another field, which is field 5, and calls it as a character at that point, right. So, this is the idea of alter table. Okay. So, this is one field at a time. Second option is more than one at a time. Okay. If you have more than one at a time, how do you do this? Okay. So, that is alter table, okay, table name, whatever be the table name, okay, add column, okay, you will say field 4, you will call it as date, okay, then you have add column field 5 as time. Okay. So, what happens is in this case the date and time, the field 4 and field 5 gets added at the again at the end of the column. Okay. You can specify at a specific location, add column field 4 after a particular column, we can give that also, but find how to add a column at a specific location in a table. Okay. So, you are supposed to find out how, okay, find out how this is to be done using the alter table only, but I request you guys to figure this out by yourself. Okay. So, this is the alter table command. Now, comes the most heavily used SQL is update existing record, or what we call as the update query. Okay. And again there are three major implementations to this, and then the first one is what we call as modify one field at a time. Okay. We are talking about modifying one field at a time, right, and remember codes need to go around the text, but not around that. Okay. So, the query is update table name, okay, set, that is a keyword, set field 3 equals new value where field 1 equal to criteria. Okay. So, what happens is, let us say if you want to put a new value here, okay, the new value is 235 numeric value, you just put, the criteria is something like say John or something, you want to say the number 235 again as John, then you can do it this way. So, remember this way, if it is a text field, you need to go around with quotes. If it is a numerical field, you do not need to use it. So, this is the how to select a specific row. Okay. So, that is answered by this, that is a selection criteria of the update query. All right. That is the first part. Second approach is change multiple fields at once. Okay. So, if you want to change more than one fields, how to do this? Update table name, okay. Set, you can say an example is field 4 equals, I am just going to put some numbers 1999 10 22, let us say it is an year or something like that. Field 5 is equal to 6 22 18, okay. Field 6 is incident time, etc., something like this. Okay. Then where the selection criteria, you need to tell how to find where it is, where field 1 equal to criteria, whatever be the criteria is, okay, numeric or alphanumeric criteria. So, if you are having multiple fields and what go, then remember to put commas in between, okay, but no comma at the last field, okay, no need to put comma at the last field, after the last field, the where close, there is no need for a comma. Okay. Then the third one is update multiple records, okay. Fields are columns either way, records is rows, okay, in one stroke. This is a lot of the time people do this, right. Okay. So, the query is update table name, okay, set field 5 equals some number, let us say 134762, something like this, where field 4 is greater than 295, something like this. So, wherever the field 4 value is greater than 295, the field 5 values will be set to this particular one. So, it can be done for one row, it can be done for 10 rows, okay, whatever be the available, it will be do that. But again remember here, I just showed a numerical value, okay. So, instead of 295, let me just put it as criteria. So, we are consistent in this regard, okay. That is a numeric criteria or alphanumeric criteria, that is up to you. Okay. So, that is the update part, right. Now, comes the another major part, which is what we call as the delete query, right. How do we delete the records? And this is also very important, right. And the syntax of delete, remember when you are deleting, you need to be extremely careful what the hell you are going to delete. Sometimes once you delete from a database, it is very difficult to retrieve, okay. So, the rule is this, delete from, okay, what you call as table name, where criteria is given, some, okay, criteria, and then there is something called order by, okay. So, that is another sorting criteria, order by, then you have condition, okay, and then this is third one, limit how many. Okay, that is what it is. Okay. So, let us give an example. Okay. So, what happens is it deletes rows from the given table name, okay, whatever be the table name that you give, that satisfy the condition given in, that is why the condition given by where definition, and returns the number of records deleted, number of records or rows deleted. Okay. So, one example is, let us take an example. Okay. Delete from table name where user equals Jim, okay, or order by, let us say, score limit 1. Okay. So, what happens here is, for this one it says this will delete the oldest entry, okay, by score. Okay, it will delete the oldest entry by score where the row matches the where clause, okay, or the selection clause. Okay. So, wherever the selection clause is matched, it will, for the user Jim, it will order all the scores, and then the oldest score, the last one, that the topmost oldest score gets, because of the limit 1, it will delete. If I say limit 2, it will delete 2 of them, the oldest 2 scores. Okay. So, that is the idea of a delete. Okay. Now, then the last part is, how do we get out of the MySQL? Okay. So, when you are in the MySQL, you can type the command either quit or exit, and you will come out of the MySQL prompt. Okay. So, how can you learn SQL and MySQL, more aspects of it? So, there are two ways. Okay. I suggest you guys go to these online tutorials. Number 1, they are free, okay, and number 2, they are web based. Okay. So, you do not need to install anything, all you need to do is just use a browser and deal with it, right. So, the w3schools.com SQL default.asp, it will teaches you the SQL, okay, structured query language aspects of it. And the second one, this is for the SQL, the first one is for the SQL, second one is for the MySQL, right. So, I have given you the major insert, update, delete, alter table, and I have shown you how to create a table in the previous lecture. So, some of the major commands of creating the database is given to you. I have not taught you the select command, where you are actually retrieving, you are querying the database, because that will also happen when we are dealing with the user interface or the application program. So, with that in mind, we would be able to. So, I request you guys to go through this website, learn all of these things, practice it. They give you a portal for practicing, and with that we will call it good today now, and we will come with the, in the next session we will meet and we will introduce what we call as big data quickly, and then after that Dr. Amandeep Singh will take you with the details of big data and some of the major practices and stuff are associated with the big data. Thank you very much.